haven't had this cider before. It's good.
Good.
It's good.
So we're here with Alex today up at Cinema Gym Studios up in Burbank, and we're going to talk about his upcoming movie, Agora.
Thank you. Yeah.
Tell me about Agora.
As Agora, the title suggests, it has something to do with agoraphobia.
You've been wanting to do this, Chet. I've seen it on you, okay? Relax, relax.
Don't tell me to relax. Are you fucking kidding? This is not cool. Hey, this is not Whoa! Hey!
Agora is really about two lost and lonely people that are trapped in their own lives. We have two pretty interesting characters. We've got Chet, who suffers from agoraphobia. He's been in his home for 10 years, doesn't go out too much, is very introverted, sort of a wallflower. And then Maggie comes into his life.
I'm gonna puke. I'm gonna puke. I'm gonna puke. I'm gonna puke. I'm gonna puke.
I didn't know you're on your period today.
The lead character, the one of the two main characters, suffers from agoraphobia. He hasn't been out of his house for 10 years. And the other character has a lot of issues, including a little bit of an anxiety disorder as well. She may or may not suffer from PTSD. Agoraphobia is your character's issue, and then we have this other character of Maggie, who's a former Marine, and she's got all kinds of issues. She's an alcoholic. She's got a husband who's serving
Homeless.
She's homeless. She's a wreck. She's got a husband in prison, and she suffers a little from PTSD, which is obviously something that a lot of military people struggle with.
What do you want? Huh? A boyfriend? A fuck buddy?
Oh, wow. I tried to fucking help you, you asshole. You know, I don't need a fuck buddy. I have a fucking man. Wow, you know what? Why would I be with a little fucking pussy like you that's afraid of people? Oh, people in malls and air. Unfucking believable.
Cool.
Yeah.
You are also the writer of the movie,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So how did that idea come to you?
One of my acting students, Dustin Coffey, who's been in my Cinema Gym workshops for probably 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
He's done a lot of television, and he's just a really great actor. And he came to me with a project that he had written, lost the director on it, or they just had a disagreement or something.
Mm-hmm.
And we decided we want to work together, but I thought we could just I wanted to just do something else. There's nothing wrong with what he had done. His was a little more relationship, a traditional relationship.
Yeah, you just weren't
I
feeling
want
it.
something a little more offbeat, something just in an area where maybe I could learn something, and it could be entertaining and dynamic, but also could say something.
Yeah.
Not to be too pretentious. And I think especially agoraphobia tends to be dealt with in movies as a punchline, or in a comedy, it's that guy who stays in the whole time playing radio contests, or in a horror movie, he can't leave the haunted house because he's agoraphobic, or they usually have ridiculous, premises.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like when people are dealing with mental health issues in movies, it's usually very one-dimensional, and I don't think most people know what agoraphobia is. I think usually you're seeing someone being portrayed as schizophrenic, and then it's like the same way again and again.
Right. Yeah, and it literally is just the fear of being out generally out in public, or where there's a lot of people, like a mall, or being in line at the post office. But severe agoraphobia even affects someone going out their front door.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, in our research, we spoke to a couple of agoraphobic, or people suffering from agoraphobia from the internet, and the one we spent the most time talking to and has been just amazingly supportive and educational is Tom Gray.
And how long were you housebound for? What's the longest time that you've been housebound for?
I think a year, actually, totally houseman, not leaving the front door, not even going out the back door. So I'd say a year.
Wow. I know you've made progress with your anxiety, but when it was at its worst, how did you get things from the outside world, like groceries and things like that?
I was very lucky in the sense that I have a very close family. So my family was doing everything for me. So groceries, food, anything.
Yeah.
Family went out and got that for me.
So, for the viewers, Alex has been directing and acting for a long time. Why don't you tell me a little bit about how you got into film and television?
Ditching class in high school
Mhm.
was my entry into the entertainment industry. I literally was trying to hide in, I think it was in my art class, and I noticed the girl was working on some stationery of the local radio station. I'm from a very small town.
Mm-hmm.
And this was senior year, beginning of senior year, what are you gonna do? You know, and I assumed I would go to work at the garlic and onion processing plant where my dad was a welder, and
Yeah.
you know, okay. And I literally stumbled into radio through her.
Mm-hmm.
I just looked at the stationery and said, well, what's the radio, what do you do at the radio station?
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, I do some part-time work, my dad's the general manager. And I said, wow, that sounds like a good job. And I said, how do you become like a radio announcer and do all that stuff and DJ? And she says, well, you know, you could go to college, major in communications, or you could go to a broadcasting school. There's a couple in Los Angeles. And I said, okay, well, no, you know, my family has no money, and what's the back door?
Yeah.
And she's, well, I don't, there is no back, what? I'm like, you know, what's the fast track?
Yeah.
And I think that's always been, you know, me
Mm-hmm.
and our family, just, you know, through circumstances that take too long to explain, of having to sort of just make do.
Yeah, just
And
do it.
yeah, and I just literally went down and introduced myself to the program director and did my impersonations and things, and you know, and they said, well, this is a funny kid, and well, he can do some commercials and some voice. And then pretty soon I was, you know, showing up Sunday mornings, putting religious tapes, reel-to-reel tapes, you know, playing them at, you know, 6 a.m. when everyone's sleeping.
Yeah.
The Lutheran hour, you know, Salvation Army.
Uh-huh.
And then they literally just, I learned, they paid me minimum wage essentially to teach me how to be a broadcaster.
Yeah,
I
which
learned
is great.
everything. And that's been, for radio, that was the case.
Mm-hmm.
When I got into acting, it was formal training, you know, through initially South Coast Repertory, and a lot of training. But, you know, and then with movies, same thing, you know, I was making some good money from radio and commercials, and I was shooting baskets with a friend and said, you know, I'm gonna make a movie. And not like a video, a movie, you know, 16 millimeter, you know, feature length. And I told him some ideas, and he said, well, I'll give you half the budget for any one of those, you know, but I get to be
awesome.
the co-star and I co-write it with you. And we didn't know anything. And then I had another friend to direct and edit, and then for reasons that we won't go into, he wasn't able to do the directing and the editing. And so,
Did you ever finish it then?
oh yeah,
How was
absolutely.
it?
My feature film was Alvarez and Cruz, and so then we just had to jump in and do everything.
Okay, so if you're someone who hasn't watched a lot of films, what's your recommendation for someone for a resource of something to go to?
You know what? Turner Classic Movies is my favorite channel. So instead of giving you a specific, you know, the AFI Top 100 or, I just find my favorite actors and directors as I discover them.
Yeah.
And then you know, Friedkin or whoever. And then you know, it's wonderful with the technology now. And then I type in Friedkin on my DVR.
Yeah.
And then I wake up, and then
There you
usually
go.
it's TCM. Oh, you know, or you know, William Wyler and James Cagney, Humphrey Bogart, Betty Davis. I love going back even to Buster Keaton, silent films, the original Zorro in silent.
What do you think of how technology is developing today and how entertainment is being integrated into that, like with all of the viral content that's coming out now.
I think it's great, you know, there's pros and cons on both sides, but, you know, being able, now somebody literally has made a film on, I'm pointing off camera to an iPhone. But literally, I can't think of the title of it right now. The gentleman who won an Oscar for his documentary on the musician, I can't think of it. It's like a year or two ago. So literally, I like that the art form is now accessible because a painter needs canvas and paints, but filmmakers, it's always been a very, very, very expensive proposition.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that the technology has made it all accessible. Because like a painter, you really do have to paint a lot of paintings badly.
Yeah.
But
true.
for some reason with acting and directing, people expect themselves to just blossom instantly. Well, Tarantino did it in one film,
Mm-hmm.
when that's not true at all.
Yeah.
You know, he's got some things in his drawer that nobody's gonna see.
You're teaching again.
Teaching. Yeah, I started teaching, actually I started teaching initially in my home.
Mm-hmm.
As far back as 1999, a few actors approached me. I had definite ideas about how this model for workshops for actors could be improved, could be more affordable, could be practical
Mm-hmm.
and effective, and utilizing the technology. So
Yeah.
that was the beginning of the Cinema Gym, which was just about actors. And then I formally was hired later to teach directing at UCL Extension.
Mm-hmm.
And then I, instead of teaching out of my house, I decided this Cinema Gym thing is cool because, as I said, it's affordable, it's practical, my actors are getting results, and
Yeah.
I'm seeing, you know, more bookings, and I'm seeing their progress in their craft. So we started renting, you know, 6 or 7 years ago, this little studio space, theater space in Hollywood, and have moved around and now have my own small space. I got out of theaters because even that paying rent, the actors have to, you know, you have to jack up the price.
Yeah, it gets expensive.
So we found a good deal in Burbank, and I've incorporated over the years directors into it. So we keep the group small, and directors and actors work out together, and it's been a very rewarding experience.
That's awesome. Also, a little bit of reference. I took classes with Alex a number of times, and
But we met at
Oh,
UCLA
it's-
Extension, right?
we actually talked over the phone. I was
Oh, Nick,
referred to you
Yeah, I
through
one of your friends, Nick, right? Wasn't it Nick?
Lauren or
Yes. Was my student at UCLA Extension
Yeah,
and referred you to me
yeah,
at the Cinema Gym.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I always found it rewarding, and it's true. Alex's students, I get emails about them booking things
Yeah.
like weekly, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So that's really cool.
Thank you. It was good. It was cool to have you in the group, and you pop in every now and then, and
Yeah.
it's cool.
Yeah, I love it. And now we'll actually go back to your film, Agora. So you're starting the
We're starting off-
campaign for it.
Right, we're starting,
Shortly.
as we speak, as this is being broadcast, we're getting toward the end of our Kickstarter campaign. The movie is Agora, and people can visit our website, agoramovie.com.
AgoraMovie.com.
And then there's a link there to the Kickstarter. This movie, I really feel, someone asked me, well, why should I give you money for your movie?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've got 20 friends that want to make a movie.
Yeah.
And I said, you know, that's a great question. And I said, here's my pitch. Besides being something that I think is unique and very truthful and entertaining, it actually raises awareness about anxiety disorders, specifically agoraphobia, and also PTSD.
Yeah.
So I feel really good about that, and I feel proud of it, and not embarrassed to ask someone to give me the finishing funds.
Yeah.
We have our shooting budget. We need a little bit more, really not that much,
Yeah.
for our
to do the
post-production, and boom, Agora will be up on the screen. So I hope you will help us at agoramovie.com.
AgoraMovie.com.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being on. Cheers.